I want to talk quickly about sponsorships in cricket, and then I'm basically going to pitch you on how I'm trying to get into that market. Across the ranks of semi-pro and pro cricket, so that's everybody from your major international stars playing in major franchise leagues all the way down to the semi-pros that are being paid to play in your local club cricket leagues. Sponsorships have always been a big part of how a player makes money. So just using this player as an example, you can see they have a Kookaburra bat, which will be paid for and given to him by Kookaburra. He'll have Kookaburra gloves and maybe pads as well, but then the shoes you can see come from New Balance, and those will have been paid for, dozens of pairs. And then he's got a little Vitality sticker here on his bat, and then the helmet will come from a completely different company. If the player is a wicketkeeper, they'll also get their pads and gloves for free. They'll also get dozens of pairs of sunglasses. All of that will simply be sent to him just before a tournament. And they also get things like gym memberships for free. And any brand basically that's willing to stamp their name on a player to get a little bit of exposure, they love to do that. So rather than just receiving match fees, players are able to supplement their income and add to their overall wealth by collecting a variety of sponsors. But where is that marketplace for umpires? Maybe the most visible people on the field. I mean, think about it. If you're a batter, you could be on the ground for a while, but you could also get out first ball, and you're only on screen for what small percentage of time of a broadcast. And let's say you're a bowler, you're only bowling at most 1/5 of the overs, and you really only have that amount of screen time and show time to show off what you've got. Umpires, on the other hand, are visible for almost the entire match, and especially on televised games are on screen constantly. Every time that an umpire goes to make a signal, they are on camera. And sure, the league has paid for this shirt that we're wearing and there's a brand on it, but I had to pay for these pants. You want to buy me 10 pair of pants and slap your logo right here on the front? Go for it. You want to buy me a couple of these hats and I'll promote your brand in one of your YouTube ads? You can get me a little hat band that has your logo on it. The shoes here, I buy 7 or 8 pair of shoes a year because I do nearly 200 fixtures every year in club and semi-pro and pro cricket. So you will be getting exposure all across the American cricket landscape. Of course, I'm also wearing glasses or sunglasses. I've also had to pay for my own radio headsets and radios. I've got counters and notebooks and watches and clips and towels and all sorts of stuff that, like a NASCAR, why don't you slap your brand all over it? Every time the bowler runs in, you get a view like this of the umpire. Why don't you slap your brand right on the back of my hat here, and then I can get a bunch of towels from your gym and tuck those into the back of my pants instead. Now, if you're a professional umpire, a top-level umpire in an ICC full member nation, then most likely you have some kind of salary, some kind of retainer that makes sure that you can just work on being the best umpire that you can be. But here in the US and in other smaller cricket nations, it has been made abundantly clear to us that we are freelancers. They're not planning on paying us a salary to be on some sort of national panel. So instead, I think we ought to have access to this same marketplace like the freelance players do.
And I know this isn't for everybody, but for me personally, let's remember that 2/3 of the Saturdays and Sunday from April to October, I'm running 8 to 12 hours a day live New York City club cricket streams right here on TikTok, where in the last month, I've gotten 56,000 viewers, and that's down 20% from the month before. What if I gave your brand or your brand slogan a shout out twice in innings? What's that worth to you? Come and talk to me. I'd also be well up for that old style cricket sponsorship deal, which I think some places still exist. Think of like the railways in India, where basically a company would give me a job and they would support the idea that I would need to do cricket at the same time. So let's say you run a shop, like a cricket shop or something, I'll come work at the desk and I will sell cricket equipment, or maybe I'll work at the front desk of your daycare, or I'll be the operations assistant at whatever your business is. But then when I have to go for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks for cricket, I can go, and that's built into my salary, and that's built into the agreement that I have with the company. Anyway, the point here is that I'd like to see more opportunities for umpires to earn a little bit more money in legitimate ways. And I'd like to see these sponsorship marketplaces opened up for umpires working at the top level of smaller cricket nations and who probably won't ever get the chance to be elevated to the ICC elite panel or even the regular international panel. That when there's professional cricket happening in a country and those players are mostly able to make a living off of that playing, that the umpires who are sharing the field with them can make a living off that work as well.